Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Thanks for being here. It's me, Ari Dosset. You can call me Rashid. I'm your anthropologist and sociologist. All right. Before I continue, thank you all for being here again. Let's let me know in the live chat. And how are you all doing today? To start with that, how are you all doing today? Let me know. How are you all doing? I know this live stream is a bit late. However, there were some interruptions over here that came in between. But anyway, I could do the live stream tonight. So that's what I'm doing tonight right now. Well, this night for me here in the Netherlands. Okay, it's good. It's good with Maria. It's going well with climbing with the word. That's great. Okay. For all of you who are here, please hit the like button, share the live stream, subscribe to the channel, become a member of the channel. You can check my novels on Amazon, and please donate in the links below. Thank you very much. Raskal is from the UK, saying shalom. Okay, shalom to you too. Okay, I'm about to read two scriptures with you right now. So let me um, share it with you. Okay. We're going to read Luke chapter 6, verse 44 and 45. Let's read. This is Jesus speaking here. For every tree is known by its own fruit. For of thorns men do not gather figs, nor of a bramble bush gather they grapes. A good man out of the good treasure of his heart bring forth that which is good, and an evil man out of the evil treasure of his heart bring forth that which is evil. For out of the abundance of the heart his mouth speaketh. Okay. It doesn't talk about behavior over here, it talks about fruit. Fruit is the overall consequence of something. If you put an apple seed in the ground and begins to grow, you have an apple tree. And the apple tree will have apples. If you have a fig seed, you're going to have a fig tree. You can go on and on. So, what Christ is saying is that people who have a good attitude, a constructive attitude in life, their the way they speak will reflect this. And if they are wrong, they'll admit they're wrong and they'll adapt, improve, and move on. But people who have a corrupt attitude, you can come, what they'll bring forth is evil. So, long term destruction. Now, let's go to Proverbs 18, verse 1 and 2. Through desire, a man, having separated himself, seeketh and intermeddleth with all wisdom. Now, this is Old English. Okay? A fool hath no delight in understanding, but at his heart may discover itself. Let's go to the New King James Version. Okay, let's read again, but in more modern English. Proverbs chapter 18, verse 1 and 2. A man who isolate himself seeks his own desire. He rages against all wise judgment. A fool has no delight in understanding, but in expressing his own heart. Now, I want you to understand the following. This is quite simple. Someone with a narcissistic attitude, the only on their mind is their own relief. If something contributes to their own relief, to them it's real, it's relevant, they're in on it. If something is not in line with their relief, to them it's bullshit, nonsense, doesn't exist. And any time in life they can have this relief, they can escape, they're all good. They're very pleasant to be around. Well, off a lot of them are. But the moment they can't escape, that unrest inside of them grows and they will begin to escalate. And when it escalates, they seriously believe that they are the victim, even if they're the ones causing harm to the environment. Nowhere in their mind does it come up to them, you know what? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I should check my way I think, the way I feel, the way I'm acting. Maybe I should concede for once. It does come up to them. Now, I'm not talking about people who are reprobate here, full-blown narcissists, sociopaths, or psychopaths. Those are the evil people. In life, you will encounter evil people from time to time. But often you also encounter toxic people and bad people. Now, what's the difference between a toxic individual and a bad individual? A bad individual is simply what the Bible calls the wicked. Those are people who are just neglectful. Toxic people are those who they may not be intentionally neglectful, but they're just holding on to a lot of stuff that don't add up and they don't want to own up to it. So because of that, they'll have they'll be toxic to be around. They'll be harmful to be around long term. They'll stress you out. So that's the difference between toxic and bad people. So toxic people, bad people, and evil people, they have one thing in common. They are self-destructive. Now, with evil people, it's obvious to see they're self-destructive. Okay, we don't even have to address that. But toxic people and bad people, they're more self-destructive in an indirect way. But whether someone is just toxic or they're actually a bad individual or they're an evil individual, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, they're all inconsistent with their own human design. We're designed a certain way with Heavenly Father. If you operate against that design, you are in trouble. Simple as that. It works in the physical and also in the spiritual that way. So, there is one thing about the human design that God made, and that's the following. We cannot operate against our own nature and get away with it. I mean, work all the time without getting some rest. See what happens to your body. You'll collapse. Or stay angry at people unnecessarily. Stay angry about something they've done, and you'll destroy your own body. That anger and that bit inside of you will destroy all your vitamins, all your minerals that your body already has. Um, if you don't drink sufficient water, guess what? You get dehydrated, you're in trouble. You'll die. We are in mortal bodies now. When Christ comes back, it's going to be a different scenario. But now we have mortal bodies. If you don't eat properly, your organs will suffer. So in the physical, your requirements need to be met for you to be healthy and functional. Same it is in the spiritual. We need human connection. We need a stable self-image. All these are spiritual requirements. If the requirements are not met, you malfunction and you are in trouble. Simple as that. No matter who you are, no matter your background. So anytime we act against our own design, we put ourselves and others at risk. Because when you malfunction, your malfunction will not only harm you, but also the people around you. Simple as that. Now look, as a human being, we are vulnerable and fragile creatures. So we require intimacy with our environment. We require to be able to be fully open without any guards on in our environment. That's how we remain healthy. If you're in an environment where you always need to watch your back, or you always need to watch out for danger, that's going to exhaust you mentally, and that's going to affect your physical body too. So that's why we require intimacy and we require safety, also emotional safety. So anytime we act in any way that goes against those requirements, we're going to feel horrible about ourselves because that's our own mind turning on us because we're actually endangering ourselves. That's not what they call the conscience, because the conscience something society gives you. Your conscience is actually a program of society, and guilt is the fear of abandonment that comes out of this programming. I don't talk about the conscience and guilt, which are societal programs. I talk about your natural design. Naturally, your own mind will turn on you in conviction when you're out of balance. Now, if you ignore this, go against it, now you actually are harming yourself mentally and physically. Okay? And with some people, it's so far gone, it seems like they don't have any breaks anymore. And those are the reprobates or the evil people. So understand this. You are not entitled to think, feel, and act however you choose without any regard for other people, nor any regard towards Heavenly Father. That thing they call free will is a narcissistic hoax that people should know better that it doesn't exist. Any way you feel and think on the inside affects your own physical body first. Whether you're sad, you're happy, you're angry, disappointed, whatever you feel and think on the inside affects your own physical body. And because you, as a vulnerable creature, are involved with other human beings who are also vulnerable creatures, when you're in a bad state, that bad state also affects other people. So the whole idea that your thoughts and your feelings internally are private is not true. It is shielded off. Nobody can look into your mind. Nobody can read your mind. No human being can do that. But it doesn't mean that how you think and feel inside does not affect others around you. It does, even in ways you don't notice yourself. Look, human governments cannot change someone from the inside out. They can only contain someone's self-destruction. They can only contain violence on the outside. That's why you have hate speech laws that are against hate speech in public. They can't do anything against hate speech in private, but they can do it about hate speech in public. It will affect other people directly. Or they can do something about people, killing one another or stealing from one another, whatever. But it's only the outworking of violence that society can contain. At least that's what they hope to, by put people in prison and all of that. But they cannot change people from the inside out. No government can do that. No believer can do that even. But it doesn't mean we should let people on the loose if they are not in harmony with the will of Heavenly Father. Look, however you think and feel affects both you and other people. So if you're thinking and feeling in a certain way that's not in harmony with the will of Heavenly Father, you are in violation. You are in the wrong. You become part of the problem. Simple as that. Look, you cannot change other people from the inside. If you have 1,000 people in a room and all of them are thinking wrong on the inside, they're all thinking wrong. But you can't change them for the better. What you can do is you can let go of wrong thinking and improve. So no matter how wrong people did you, you can't change them. You can't change what they are. And you can't undo the past. You can't undo what they did to you. Whether it was neglect or a fish attack, whatever, you can't change the past anyway. And you can't guarantee they'll improve. But what you can do is doing your part that you improve and you become better. That's what you need to focus on. That's the most important thing on your behalf. So understand this. Your own mind turns on you when you're out of balance. Your own body too. Look, that's why trained police officers, psychiatrists, psychologists, or even FBI officers or CIA officers, they have ways to detect deception in people. Your human body is designed to be in harmony. So if you, as a human being, you're out of balance, your body will reveal it. So nobody can be a successful, convincing liar. You can trick people into some bullshit you came up with, but you can never lie successfully because your own mind, your own body will revolt against it. Simple as that. So someone that's not in harmony within, someone that's not operating in human balance, they show up signs of malfunctioning. So when they are off, let's say someone's cheating on his wife, and then someone asks, "Where were you last night?" And last night he was cheating on his wife with some other woman in some motel. His body language will show the fright, the danger. He does not notice it himself, but his body will give it off. Also, apart from the physical body, his energy field will give off these fearful shocks. And even if you don't notice one's body language, you may pick up the vibration give off in the climate. But now, you can mask your body language to some extent. That's possible with a lot of training. But most of the time, it's not working. But to some extent, you can mask your body language, but you can never mask your energy emissions. So even if you don't catch someone's body language, and by the way, body language doesn't automatically always mean someone is lying. Simply means that something's off, someone is stressed out or whatever. So people reveal themselves whether they like it or not. When someone is out of balance, so whether they're toxic, bad, or evil, it doesn't matter how out of balance they are. They don't have to be evil. Like in this case, a narcissist, sociopath, or psychopath. They don't have to be evil. Them just being toxic or bad alone, they're out of balance. with how God designed them. And when they're out of balance, their own body language will reveal it because their own mind is kind of operating against themselves. And when your own mind turns against you, there's a stress and unrest. People have a hard time. People cannot deal with that. They always will look for an outlet for it. So a lot of these toxic, bad, evil people, instead of looking for actual balance, and only do that is go back to God, Heavenly Father's design, they look for an outlet for the unrest that grows inside of them. But that unrest is growing because they're out of balance. But they always look for an outlet for this unrest instead of dealing with the root of it, which is them. But they always telling themselves. Just like Jesus said here, hold on, let me go back. Um, for of the abundance of the heart, his mouth speaketh. Not talk, people can talk all the time, but speaking is when you express something with conviction. Here it is, a fool has no delight in understanding, but expresses his own heart. But that's how a lot of people in the world are, just want to get what they want. They just want to be understood, they want to be heard, and it's all about them having their ease on their terms and their own things on their mind. Anything else doesn't interest them, doesn't matter. Which is quite a ridiculous and pathetic way to go through life, but that's how a lot of people in the world do. Simple as that. But about people like that, they always tell themselves. And let me tell you, even some believers were toxic because they're following all these garbage teachings that are not in harmony with the will of the Heavenly Father. So in this live stream, I'm teaching you to pay attention to toxic statements. Now, I've addressed this before on my channel a little while back, but I'm going to address it one more time. Toxic people, bad people, and evil people are all out of balance with the will of the Heavenly Father. They're out of balance with their own human design. So that means that this imbalance brings forth unrest, and this unrest always manifests in their behavior and in the consequences they have in their life. Even if they can master behavior by performing, the waste energy that comes out of them will affect their environment. So, toxic statements. What is a toxic statement? A toxic statement is an indirect way in which individual tells you that they don't care about you nor other people. They don't care about what goes on with others. The only thing that they care about is that they are left alone and are at ease. That's what a toxic statement is. Now, a toxic statement 9 out of 10 times is not something someone says on purpose. As a matter of fact, they're not even aware they're saying it. Because it works like this. Because your human mind is not designed to operate in dishonesty, because your human mind is, and dishonesty does not mean that, okay, dishonesty does not mean hiding how you truly feel. Sometimes you have to hide how you truly feel if how you truly feel will cause trouble. Because again, we're designed to be in harmony with one another as a species. So if you feel and think a certain way that doesn't contribute to this harmony, you need to shut your mouth and work on yourself. Simple as that. The whole idea that you're entitled to express however you think and feel, that's quite ridiculous. What if how you think and feel is negative? That means you're confirming negativity. Why would you want to confirm negativity on yourself and other people around you? In the Western world, especially in countries like the Netherlands and in the United States, all people have this toxic attitude that they feel entitled to express whatever they think and feel. They're very direct about what they think and feel, direct about what they want. No, no, no. You need to check whether you are right, whether you're correct, or whether it's appropriate how you think and feel. And then you act based on the situation. That's being mature and that's being realistic. But this is a discipline a lot of people don't have. A lot of belief. It's not just the Western world, but I'm just telling you, Western world they kind of normalize this toxic attitude. So some toxic statements are even normalized as part of the culture, which is quite disturbing. Okay, let me give an example of toxic statement. Nobody owes you anything. If you tell someone nobody owes them anything, you're actually telling them that they don't matter. It's like they don't exist. Actually, that's a type of violence. Because even according to human laws in the world, that doesn't add up. If nobody owes someone anything, that means anyone can treat whatever they want. And any judge or any police officer would say, people can't just treat whatever they want. There are laws over here. And we have a courthouse that will put consequences on people if they go too far. So telling someone that nobody owes them anything, I'm sorry to say, but it's even a criminal statement to make. Or some people go so far to say, I don't owe anyone anything. Some people even condemn themselves saying nobody owes me anything. Hold on a minute. If nobody owes you anything, that means anyone can neglect you, abandon you. Why would you agree to something like that? Or because you yourself don't want to face yourself and own up to your deficiencies and defects and improve. You don't want called out, so you allow people to neglect you then, so that at least they don't call you out. What the heck? So nobody owes you anything. I don't owe anyone anything, or nobody owes me anything. Listen, as a species, we can only function if we're in harmony. And for us to be in harmony, everyone has to do their part. So we do have natural obligations and responsibilities to one another. Simple as that. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that, except a lot of people are cowards who don't want to face themselves, so they insist on escaping. And anytime they can't escape, instead of giving up this ridiculous idea of consequence-free outcomes, they seek someone to escalate upon. They don't begin to become perpetrators and victimizers looking for victims. That's how it goes in the world. I'm just telling you that we do have natural obligations to one another as human beings. Come on now. You have it towards the group and the group towards you. The whole idea that nobody owes you anything or you don't owe anyone anything, I'm sorry, but what the heck is this? Ask any police officer that follows the law if that's correct. Ask any judge if that's correct. Ask any scientist who operate based on scientific proof if this is correct. It is not. But okay, let's move to other types of toxic statements. Um, Another way of another toxic statement is when someone says um, something like, okay, when someone says, I don't put my principles aside for anyone. I do not put my principles aside for everyone. So when someone keeps holding on to their principles, now what is a principle? A principle is something you value above everything else. A principle is prime things you value. Is anything wrong with valuing things in life? No. The question is, are the things you value even worth it to value? And secondly, why are you valuing those things? So just because you value something and to you is quite important doesn't mean it should be important. Neither to you nor other people. But that's what the principle is. You mentally focus on things you consider important and you go for them no matter what. I'm sorry, but why is this a toxic statement to make? Because if someone tells you that they don't put their principles aside for anyone, that means the moment their principles are in conflict with reality, they will choose their principles who are against reality above reality. So they will sacrifice and ignore the damage their behavior acted to may cause because A is in line with their expectations. A principle is an expectation you cling onto. So if people have expectations to cling onto that they don't want to check, they are in idolatry. And because of that, they will eventually overlook you, your well-being, the well-being of others, just to hold on to this pride of having principles. So anyone who tells you they don't put the principles aside for anyone, I'm telling you, you have to watch out this individual. They're not aware they're doing this. But this thing, just like through body language, the body exposes the individual, their own body, their own mind exposes them, and sometimes you just spit things out and not even aware of it. Everyone that's out of balance with the human design will spit out what's truly on the inside. Nobody can successfully and convincingly lie. It's not possible. So I don't put my principles aside for anyone. That means they have expectations to cling on to. And anytime those expectations are challenged, they go against reality instead of checking their expectations. Question you, do you even feel safe when I hear explain this towards you? Do you feel safe with people who are all about their principles? Now, in the world, they make it appear like if someone has principles, it's something good. It means they're mature. It means they grew up. But the way I just explained to you in the full right now, does it feel safe? to be around someone who's all about principles? Let me know in the live chat. Just let me know what you think. But that's the thing. You were taught having principles means you're mature or whatever. Yeah, right. That's what you were told. But what is a principle? An expectation you cling on to. But what if, okay, you have drug dealers having expectations, burglars, you have pedophiles with expectations, you have people that were in bestiality have expectations, you have murderers with expectations, you have cheaters with expectations, you have um, scam artists with expectations. Everyone has expectations to some extent. It's natural to have expectations, but are your expectations correct? Can you defend them? But just having expectations, cling on to them just because you feel like it, because you decide, I'm sorry, but that's playing God. You can't do that. Oh, another toxic statement often is, I'm not a saint. Or another version is, I'm not perfect. Now, there are people who say this because they don't want to act like they have it all together. They admit that they have issues. Okay, so culturally, I know when people say they're not perfect or they're not a saint, they don't mean it in a negative way. But some people, not all, but some people, when they say I'm not a saint or I'm not perfect, they're actually admitting the following. They're admitting that they're not willing to comply with justice. They're not willing to do the inner work to own up to their part and comply with things getting better. They don't want to face themselves or other people, just want to escape. So actually, they're warning you that, you know what, one of these days, I'm cool with you, but I may do something that will be at your expense or expense of others because I just don't want to do what I'm supposed to be doing. So I just told you I'm not perfect. They're telling you they're not perfect, or they're telling you they're not a saint, just so they can use it against you later when they neglect you or abandon you. Now, this is not the case for everyone who says they're not perfect or they're not a saint. Okay, it's not like that with all people say that, but a lot of people say that. Watch out when they say that. Why are they saying that? Are they saying that because of some mental illness and because they think they have to strive some perfection that's not even from their own father? Or are they saying that because they just want a loophole to abandon you and others just in case their selfish ass doesn't want to deal with reality? Another toxic statement: everyone responsible for their own actions. It sounds very good, sounds very noble, sounds very mature, but hold on a minute. Is human behavior not conditional? Yes, it is, because we're conditional creatures. If let's say a hurricane came and the hurricane destroyed the whole town, everything's on the water now, and you need food, and you see the supermarket over there is flooded, and you go and take some food with it. Does the law of the land apply in that situation? No, it's not, because that's a situation where the law of the land cannot apply. So you will not be charged for looting. Now, if things were functioning naturally, and you would just go out there taking stuff from the supermarket without paying, now they would say, hey, you're shoplifting, whatever, because the law applies. It's a common situation. But the moment it's a special situation, there are sometimes the law does not apply. People are surviving. Okay? So if you say that taking stuff from a supermarket without paying is theft, that means that in a situation where everything's underwater, you people are thieves too? No. The behavior now is excusable because, hey, there's an actual good reason for what goes on. So, so human behavior is conditional. And here's the thing: as a human being, you're a vulnerable and fragile creature. You can't do everything by yourself, and you need others to comply with you. Nobody's independent. Now, you can be independent from something or someone, but it doesn't mean you're independent as a creature. You're not. So let's say now you're traumatized, actual traumatized, and you're damaged from the inside. You're not even aware you're damaged. Your behavior is going to be dysfunctional. Is that your fault? Your behavior is dysfunctional? No, because you've been damaged and nobody helped you out. Now, eventually, you will notice that something's up with your own behavior, and then it's up to you to realize, okay, something's off with me. What can I do about it? So that's responsibility you have. But not that all the time you're responsible for your own behavior. Do you know that even in a court of law, this is not the case? Don't you know that even in a court of law, sometimes you have an insanity plea where people just say this individual cannot be held accountable because were either insane or they were totally mentally ill, whatever. That plea exists in courthouses for the right reason because human beings have responsibility how they deal with their feelings and emotions and with their behavior. That's true, but that is not unconditional. If someone is severely neglected or abused and they have a meltdown, it's not the fault they have this meltdown, especially if they were calling for help after nobody came. So there are times even a judge will say, okay, this individual lost their mind or whatever, but listen, they're not, we didn't need help, whatever. So the whole statement, everyone responsible for their own action, actually saying this, we're all like gods. We're all like little deities. We can have it all together if we want to. Does the Bible confirm this? No. No biologist will even confirm this. No psychologist can confirm this because it's simply not true. We are vulnerable creatures. We're affected by environment. So if we're affected by environment, okay, yes, we should be responsible to our best ability when it comes to our own behavior, but we can't be fully responsible for everything. I'm talking facts over here. But people love to use the term I'm responsible for their own action. What actually saying is I'm responsible for how I affect other people. That's what they're saying. Everyone's responsible for their own actions. I'm responsible for their own behavior. Hold on a minute. So how you affect other people, you're not responsible for that? If you affect people the wrong way and the behavior is affected by that, it's all on them and not on you that's affect them the wrong way. And that's the weird thing about society. If you grew up in a wealthy neighborhood and you go and you attend the best universities and you get the best diplomas and you get a good career and you say you did all by yourself, people gonna laugh. You say, no, no, no. You had a professor at university helped you out. You came from a good house with parents that look after all of that. When the outcomes are good in your life, everyone wants to have a part of it. Everyone wants to get some credit if they contribute to that good outcome. How come then, when the outcomes with you being are wrong or destructive, nobody wants to own anything up? Oh, it's all on them. Oh, he's a weirdo. Oh, I know what's going on with him. Don't you think that's a bit weird? That's narcissism too. Why is it that people want to claim their contribution when it's a good outcome, when it's a bad outcome, they don't want to own it up? Then suddenly everyone responds for their own actions. Okay, but you don't say that to the individual who got a job as a solicitor or earning good cash. Because you would tell them, listen, the only reason he has that job because he was accepted. The only reason he was accepted because he has a diploma. How did he get a diploma? Because he was admitted to a school. So his outcome, being a successful lawyer or whatever, is not by his own doing. How come then when someone is a drug addict or someone is mentally ill or whatever, suddenly nobody's into it. It's all on them. It's something mysterious out of the blue. So that's also a toxic statement. When people say everyone responds for their own actions, literally that statement isn't even true. And I just explained it all to you. It's not true. It's not factual, not based in reality. So when people use statements like that, actually saying is, I do not want to be called out on how I affect other people. I just want to act the way I act without being challenged and being left alone, however I think, feel, and act. And whenever there are issues, well, I don't want to deal with it. That's what they're saying. They just want to be not be a, want a license to be to be narcissistic. That's all it is. Now, there are so many toxic statements out there. I'm not going through all of them, okay, because new ones develop all the time. Just understand a toxic statement is when someone, often without them being aware of it, confesses that they just want to be a narcissist without any consequences, or they just want to escape without being called out on it. In the church world, you have this attitude of don't judge, don't judge. What they're actually saying is, hey, let me do what everyone do at peace without calling me out. That's actually what they're saying. Listen, I'm not telling you to fill in what people are saying. If someone says something and you're not sure what they mean, just ask what do you mean with that. Nevertheless, you don't always have to ask what you mean with that if the context is clear. If someone tells you, I don't owe anyone anything, you don't have to ask what you mean with that. Them saying they don't owe anyone anything means including you. That means the individual doesn't want to be held responsible for how they affect you. So you don't matter. Only thing that matters to them is them being left alone. That doesn't require any further explanation. You get me? But the thing is, because toxic statements are sometimes normalized in society and we're socialized by people of society, we're often not aware that we agree with being violated. Anytime you agree with a toxic statement of someone else, you agree to be violated. I'm not telling you to argue with people, try to change their mind. I'm just telling you, do not internally agree with someone else's toxic statements. Because the moment you agree with that, you are actually going against the Heavenly Father. You operate in hostility right now towards the Heavenly Father, and now all your blessings and protection is on hold, and you're open and vulnerable towards evil spirits and toxic, bad, and evil humans. Do you realize how serious it is? Let me know in the live chat. Let me know. I'm going to expose one more toxic statement. You don't have to be friends with everyone. This statement sometimes people use. Well, you don't have to be friends with everyone. Not everyone has to like you. Hold on a minute. What is friendship? Friendship is attitude of goodwill. And don't we need harmony as a human species to function well? Don't we need harmony both as individuals and as groups? So shouldn't goodwill, which is what friendship relationships means, should be the norm amongst human beings? Shouldn't we all be friends with one another, wanting the best of one another? Now, friendship does not automatically mean you hang out with one another. Like going to parties together, spending time together. That's just involvement. Friendship does not automatically mean involvement. Friendship means understanding and agreement. Shouldn't friendships or goodwill towards others be the norm? Because isn't harmony and safety an important need for us humans? So when someone um, tells you, well, not you don't have to be everyone's friend, what actually telling you is you don't have to care about everyone. You don't have to be concerned with everyone. You can just deny other. You can just act like some people don't matter, which actually a step way of close saying you have a right to violate people. You can't be everyone's friend. Um, you don't have to like everyone. No, 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 no. If someone is toxic, bad, or evil, they need to be called out on it, and they need to change. If someone is toxic, bad, or evil, then I can understand if you have difficulty with someone. But even then, you don't have the right to be in a negative investment against someone. Disliking people simply means that you have a negative investment towards them emotionally. But isn't this a crime? Because aren't we supposed to love our neighbor as ourselves? I mean, so you don't have to like everyone. Not everyone has to like you. You don't have to be everyone's friend. Listen, the world thinks friendship means aligning with what they're thinking. That's what the world thinks. But friendship objectively simply means goodwill towards one another. Shouldn't we all be friends with one another then? Shouldn't we all have goodwill towards one another? Now, if you mean that you can't be associates with everyone, or you don't have to associate with everyone, now that's true. You don't have to associate with everyone because not everyone is safe to associate with. That's true. If someone tells you you don't have to associate with everyone, that's correct. That's that's reality. But if someone tells you you don't have to be everyone's friend, actually, well done a minute. Something's off with that statement. Or when someone tells you not everyone, you don't have to like everyone. You don't. Hold on a minute. We're actually telling is, well, it's okay to have people to dehumanize. So you can use them as an outlet for your unrest. That's actually what they're saying to you. That means they want people that they can victimize to feel better about themselves. That's actually what they're saying. Say you don't have to like everyone. Wow. Listen, I'm not here telling you to be paranoid and always be terrified what people are saying. No, I'm just telling you. When people make toxic statements, pay close attention. Maybe they're using cultural expression and they're not even aware of how horrible it is what they're saying. If that's the case, they have to be addressed and they have to be informed that listen, the way you're talking now You don't mean what you say, what you just out of your mouth. What you out of your mouth is not a very wise thing to say. So you can address on that. But often when people make toxic statements, they are not even aware themselves of what they said. It just comes out of them because that's what's in them. That's what they are. Listen, do not ignore toxic statements from anyone. Never. The moment you begin to ignore toxic statements is you are silently consenting to what they're stating. And by doing that, you now become an equally yoked with them. Then the Bible says, can two go along unless they agree? Well, guess what? If someone operates uh, in lack and violence because they don't operate by faith, listen, if someone's an unbeliever, it's expected to operate in lack and violence. But even then, even in the world, there's sometimes people tell you, cut it out, man. Cut it out, lady. What are you doing? Let me tell you, whether someone's a believer or unbeliever, but especially if they are a fellow believer, if they're making toxic statements regularly, I'm telling you, lower contact and low involvement individual and examine what you're dealing with. And if you don't notice any willingness from this individual to revise how they think and feel or to look for help for concerning how they think and feel, I'm telling you, stop further involvement. Simple as that. Okay, let me go to the live chat. Uh, Diane says, yes, Rashid, my manager told me to my face that he is an evil son of a bitch and asked, did I see his horns? He drinks monster drinks excessively. What should I do at the immediate time or long-term plan? Okay. You said thank you, so I already told you what to do. That's good. Look, again, toxic statements don't always mean someone is toxic, evil, or bad. It simply means that the statement they're making is quite disturbing. And sometimes people make toxic statements because that's how they were raised to talk. That's how they were raised. But if that's the case, you have to tell them, listen, the way you talk, it can incriminate you. So it may have bad effects on your spiritual. So watch out with that. You can inform someone about it. But often, but not always, but often when they make toxic statements, it's because they are actually um, in hostility towards Heavenly Father. You can be a believer with Holy Spirit in you and still be hostile towards Heavenly Father, just like an unbeliever is, if you are operating in this black and white narcissistic thinking. And here's another thing. In the Bible, when you read the Bible, for example, Sermon on the Mount, when Jesus spoke, and Jesus said, um, Jesus asked them, okay, Jesus told them that you were told to fulfill your oaths. And Christ told you not to swear at all, not with heaven. And now Jesus told you to unlearn the whole idea of swearing or making oaths. And then he said, in context of making oaths, let your yes be yes and no be no. Everything above this out of evil. So what Christ is saying is that look, don't bind yourself to an outcome. Let the Heavenly Father regulate outcomes in your life. That operating in yes and no is you attempting to hold on to outcomes. Let the Heavenly Father regulate outcomes in your life. So Christ did not say you can't change your mind. If someone is about to do something that's a bit destructive, shouldn't we at least attempt to change their mind as far as we can? Or let's say you made up your mind about something, then you realize, oh shit, I didn't have all the information. I made a decision based on lack of information. Let me change my mind. Listen, you should change your mind, and you should encourage or push people to change their mind if they're wrong. Simple as that. So Christ did not say yes, say no, and hold on to it. It's your right to do so. Christ didn't say that. But a lot of believers read this in the Bible without checking the context of what Christ said and then say, let your yes be yes and your no be no. And they build their whole lifestyle based on that verse, based on the interpretation that people have right to say yes and no, and you have to take it. And now they have a lifestyle of inflexibility that goes against the will of the Heavenly Father. In church, you have a lot of toxic doctrines. In church, you have toxic doctrines even. A toxic doctrine is when someone takes a part of the Bible out of context and teaches a lifestyle that's not in harmony with the will of the Heavenly Father. That's a toxic doctrine. One toxic doctrine is that you need to overcome sin. No, sin is something you were born with because of the fall of Adam, this tendency to escape. Now, you can manage this as an adult, but the tendency is still there. The only way to get rid of this tendency to escape is when you serve the Heavenly Father after you become born again and you're walking after the Spirit. So you just have to be in alignment with Christ. So what you do is righteousness, getting an agreement with Christ. And once you are in agreement with Christ, now holiness or wholeness of life without injury manifests through the power of the Holy Spirit. That's the gospel. But the whole idea that you need to overcome that fallen nature that wasn't your fault to begin with, the whole idea that you need to overcome your own fallen nature, we're not able to do that. If we were able to overcome our own fallen nature, we wouldn't even need Christ. We wouldn't even need salvation. So in church, there's a lot of toxic doctrines going around. A famous toxic doctrine is that you need to respect your parents. First of all, the Bible says, honor your mother and father so you have a long life in the land, Lord, that God will give you. Honor means allowing someone else to have influence over you and affect you. And the only reason they get this influence because it's proven that they're trustworthy and safe. So honor should only be given to someone who's honorable. Because if you honor someone that's not honorable, that means you actually put yourself and others in danger. Respect is a worldly thing. It means simply give in to what someone wants. Whether it's a guy with a gun wants you to hand over your wallet, or someone tells you that he wants to be addressed a certain way. So respect simply means someone wants something and they actually kind of demand you to give in to what they want. Just because they want it. That's what respect means. If you give into it, you're respectful, you're polite. If you don't give into it, you're disrespectful, you're rude. And so it's actually narcissistic. Respect is a narcissistic term human beings came up with. Honor is when someone is trustworthy, someone is to be trusted, and you acknowledge this and you allow them to have influence over you. You give into the influence. That's what honor is. So nowhere are we told we need to respect our parents. We ought to honor them if they're honorable. If they're not honorable, the community needs to intervene. And if you're a grown man or a grown woman, listen, children obey parents because it's the only children can do. Adults obey their Heavenly Father. Okay? So grown men and grown women should not be obeying parents. They obey their Heavenly Father. And you only honor parents that are honorable. If they're not honorable, you don't honor them. But in church, you have this toxic doctrine you need to respect your parents and also honor them no matter how they are. When Jesus said, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar and give to God belongs to God, a lot of people take that as, you know what? No matter what the government demands from you in taxes, all that, just need to give it. They're entitled to it. No, no, no. What comes from Caesar? This world system, with all the stress comes along with it. As long as you're in the world, you have to deal with this world system. So give the contribution, in this case the tax, that you did your part, then they have no choice but to leave you alone. And then you're going to spend the rest of the time that you have in this lifetime serving Heavenly Father. You don't give yourself to Caesar because you belong to Heavenly Father. Caesar is the system. So you only deal with the system in a practical way. This is what Jesus meant. Another part in the Bible, when the apostle Peter, when disciple Peter came home, Jesus asked him, from whom do the kings of the earth demand taxes? From strange or just from their own children? Peter said from the strangers. So Christ for the children are exempt. But because we're not going to take offense at this, go to that lake, a fish will come out. When it opens its mouth, there's a gold coin in it, go and pay for me and you. So what Christ is saying is, listen, these authority figures in the world are wicked, most of them. They demand strangers to pay tribute unto them, in this case taxes. Their own close family, all those people don't have to do that, but they have to deal with toxicity. Now, do you want to be involved with their toxicity? No. So just do the payment, then that shuts their mouth, they'll leave you alone. So nowhere did the Heavenly Father even say that those worldly authorities even have a right to exist. Just because Heavenly Father tolerates them being there doesn't mean he's in agreement with them, and that doesn't mean we owe them our loyalty. Look, I can talk for hours over. I'm not going to do this because a lot of you also need to have other things to do. I need to go and fellowship too with other believers after this live stream. Just know, toxic statements will lead to toxic doctrines, and that will lead uh, that will lead to victimization. So I'm not telling you to go and argue with everyone or to debate with people. Just take note when you hear toxic statements. By the way, you shouldn't be operating based on likes and dislikes anyway in life. You should act based on reality and facts. The fact that people decide to like or dislike you means that they are operating in a fairy tale, and because they want you to either match a fairy tale or piss off or don't exist at all. Who are they? But here's the thing: when someone has a dark thinking, the, you have to keep such people in check. You let people unstable like that on the loose. There's no there's no way to know how much damage they'll do. You have to keep such people in check. Absolutely. By the way, does this live stream help you forward? Let me know in the live chat. Let me know. Look, you can't look after everyone. You can't um, meet everyone's needs. You can't give in everyone's desires. No. So sometimes it's perfectly fine to ignore or to put aside what others expect or want from you. It doesn't mean that you don't care about them. It doesn't mean that you're a narcissist. It doesn't mean that you intend harm on them. It simply is you cannot consider everyone all the time in life. That's not possible. Nevertheless, what you can do is regarding them the way God regards them by loving your neighbor as yourself. They should regard them as Father also. What I'm saying is, I cannot meet everyone's needs because I can't even meet my own needs, let alone meet someone else's needs. Okay, so I can't give in to everyone's desires because some desires conflict one another. You can't please everyone. Pleasing people. Listen, another thing. There are believers saying just like pleasing people is wrong. No, pleasing people is natural. It's natural you want to please people. Pleasing people is nothing wrong with that. It's toxic people pleasing that's wrong. Okay. So when believers say just like pleasing people is an evil spirit, what the heck are you talking about, y'all? Watch your mouth for a moment. Pleasing people's nature is toxic pleasing, that's the issue. And look, you can't please everyone. But it doesn't mean that just because you can't please everyone, you can disregard everyone. Look, the most important thing is that you walk by faith, that you have leverage in daily life, so that toxic, bad, evil people don't even want to be around you. When that happens, because they're too uncomfortable around you, you win. Because now you don't have to deal with that destruction. Overall in life, you need to be led by the Heavenly Father anyway. So there's no manual or instruction list for life. And a lot of believers treat the Bible like an instruction list for life. That's not what the Bible is meant for. The Bible is a testimony that refers to the Christ we need to follow. You need to be led by the Heavenly Father daily. Look, we cannot change people for the better. You working on yourself can be difficult enough. So we walk in forgiveness with everyone. We have patience with people and all of that. We walk in love towards everyone, but we cannot walk in love with everyone. Unconditional love does not include unconditional involvement. The Heavenly Father loves unconditionally, but it doesn't mean it's unconditionally involved with everyone. Okay? It's perfectly fine to, let's say someone harmed you or did you dirty or neglects you, whatever. You forgive the individual, you don't hold on to what happened, you walk in love towards the individual, you want what's best for them, and it's still perfectly fine to decide I still don't want this individual to be close to me. I still don't want to see them again in my life. I still want to stay at a distance. It's perfectly fine. If they're not safe to be around, or if they're unsafe people that don't even want to change for the better, guess what? You do perfectly well staying away from them or keeping them at the distance. It doesn't mean you hate them or against them. It means that you cannot walk with this individual. You walk in love towards everyone, but you cannot walk in love with everyone. There's a big difference you need to learn. Unconditional love does not mean unconditional involvement. Unconditional love does not mean unconditional approval of everyone's lifestyles. It's perfectly fine to keep people at a distance from you when they're not safe for you, or when they, year in, year out, don't want to own up to anything nor improve. It's pretty fine to only deal with them from time to time at a distance, or not deal with them at all if they're actually dangerous for you. That's perfectly fine. That's perfectly in harmony with the will of Heavenly Father. What is not in harmony with the will of Heavenly Father is either to hate and become bitter towards people, or to embrace everyone into your life, regardless of their lifestyles and regardless of whether or not they're safe for you to be involved with. So, neglecting and harming yourself, but just involving yourself with everyone, that's not God's will, and you shouldn't be doing that anyway. We shouldn't be out there controlling people. We shouldn't be out there escalating, offloading on people either, but we also shouldn't be out there embracing everyone, regardless whether they're safe or not. You shouldn't be doing that. I'm not telling you to develop a cult mentality that you only deal with people who are only similar to you. That's ridiculous. Also, some people want to know what you're thinking. I mean, what type of creepy shit is this? Some people only want to be around others that they can predict. I'm sorry, but that's also a toxic attitude, because that means this individual does not want to be flexible in life. Let me explain one more toxic statement. A lot of a lot of you won't realize is toxic. When someone tells you, "I don't like surprises," a surprise when something happens you were totally unaware of, it suddenly is there. Now, I can understand that you don't want to have ugly surprise in life. For example, you come home and your house is looted. Burglars robbed your whole house. You don't want to hear out of the blue that some of a relative of yours passed away just like that. Or you don't want to find out suddenly that, oh, your bank account is empty while you're in a supermarket about to pay. You don't want that. Or you don't want to wake up and realize, oh, um, the there's some poison in the drinking water, in the tap water. Oh my God. So there are ugly surprises out there none of us want. That's understandable. However, life is not meant to be a strict routine of predictability. And that's what a lot of people in the world are looking for, a strict routine of predictability. A strict routine of predictability is only possible if you can control everyone. And is that possible to control everyone? No, it's not, because we don't have any control. So anyone who wants a strict routine of predictability eventually develops narcissistic tendencies, and they become narcissistic in their behavior towards other people. Thing is, when time goes by, people grow up, people develop. So that's the dynamic of life. It is the dynamic of life. You can't just always want static outcomes, always the same, based on how you think and feel. So when someone tells you they don't like surprises, what actually telling you is they want to be in control. And is this even possible as a human being to be in control? No. So why do they long control something that they're not built for, something they can never have? Someone that tells you they don't like surprises, what they're actually telling you is that, hey, I have my way of doing things. I don't want to be disrupted. So get in line with what I want so I can predict you, or get away. That's what they're telling you when they say, I don't like surprises. Well, guess what? If the police comes to arrest you, they don't care whether you like surprise or not. They come to arrest you. If, um, let me tell you, when the Heavenly Father moves to glorify Himself, He does it. And we have to get aligned with that. You have to push your expectation aside to work with Heavenly Father. Now, don't get me wrong over here. I'm not saying that you can never have expectations in life. What I'm telling you is are your expectations right? Do they even matter? Are your expectations even beneficial for yourself? Or are your expectations toxic that only will hold you back? Look, know the following in life. There are people that will abandon you. There are people that will do you dirty, and there are going to be people that will simply not love you because they don't even love themselves. If people don't even love themselves, how can they love you? If people don't even regard their own well-being, how can they regard yours? You are going to encounter wasteful people. But just know, whether they're wasteful or not, it's on them. You ought to be in harmony with the will of Heavenly Father. Simple as that. Okay. Are there any questions still about this topic? Let me know in the live chat. Let me know, please. Are there any questions? Let me know. Well, some of you may be writing your questions down. Everyone hit the like button, share this live stream, subscribe to the channel, become a member of the channel. Please check my novels on Amazon and donate in the links below. Thank you very much. Praise God. God is good. Again, I'm not telling you to argue or to fight or debate people who make toxic statements. I'm just telling you, watch out when people make toxic statements and pray about it and see what's and let them for the guide you in how it's best to deal with these people. Because all toxic people, all bad people, all evil people tell on themselves. They can't help it. Even when they are pretending to be good people and quality people, they'll still tell on themselves without them being aware of it. It's simply how we're built as humans. So pay attention to what comes out of their mouth, please. Okay, I didn't get any questions. Thank you all for being here. Keep agreeing with Christ, and I will see you in my next live stream. Shalom. Enjoy the Shabbat.